All right. So the first thing I'm actually going to show you is your membership site. It's nothing really new, but it will sort of help with how I'm going to frame this today. Let's see here. So this is your membership site, and this is your foundations over here. And nothing is real. I did add, oh, look at someone wants to join us. Great. I did add a bonus training in here. Hey, Kristen. But I just compartmentalized it in these 4 areas. And these 4 areas we're going to touch on tonight. And why I did this is because then this will serve as almost a refocus whenever you come on your membership site and you scroll over the foundations and you see, oh, rest, mindset, diet, fitness. And it will almost be like an automatic checkpoint for you, like, hey, yeah, how am I doing in my rest? How am I doing in my mindset, etc. And if you feel like, oh, you know what, I'm feeling a little short in my rest, okay, you can click on that and it will take you, and maybe you don't even watch the training again, but just by seeing it, it's like, oh yeah, I need to schedule a cleanse day this week, or oh yeah, I need to focus on my sleep. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a little helpful tip for you. Kristen, hi, can you hear me? You just missed it, but we are getting into our little nutrition refresher, and we all went around and just shared like an update. How are you doing? So do you want to share how you're really doing right now?
Just like we had talked, pretty much doing the stress eating. So really trying to curb that in. The stress snacking, working and then snacking, and schooling and snacking. So I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie. And obviously trying to curb the shopping trips. We're just trying to grab and make what we can in the house and try to make it as healthy as we can. But sometimes, we don't have those choices based on timing.
Yeah. On a positive note, I did see, I don't know if everyone else saw your husband's amazing contraption he's making for the girls.
I think Jennifer saw it.
The shed, or the
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the child shed, instead of the she shed, it's the child shed.
Yes.
I told him, I said, we might have to have an overnight out there.
Yeah.
when we can ship the girls off.
Yes. I love that. Cool. Anything else? Like just, in venting, you need to get off your chest with us?
Oh, it's just the normal. I mean, everyone's going through it, and I'm struggling too, just trying to find that balance. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Let's find some balance. Whew. Okay. Big breath. Lord, help us right now. Okay. So, the first thing that we'll start with based on those foundations is rest. Okay. And I'll talk about this in the context of nutrition, because we know, and if you're at that place of, okay, my sleep is lacking, and maybe it's something you haven't even thought about. Maybe you feel like you're waking up more at night because of anxiety or because of young kids or whatever. Okay, if that's the case, like that's an easy fix. Let's clean up our sleep hygiene and focus on a certain number of hours for the next week. And even because a lot of our schedules are a little different, maybe that looks like, okay, after lunch each day, I'm going to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm going to go lay on my bed or lay on my couch. I have actually been doing this sometimes where I go from work mode and then I go to kid mode, or whatever. When you switch those activities, especially when I go from work mode or wrapping up meetings or a coaching call or whatever, and then I get hungry. And then after that, it's like, okay, it's time for lunch. Well, it's so easy to like zoom up to the kitchen, throw something together and like start inhaling food. Even if it's good food, it's like, it's like inhaling. So, and today's a perfect example. And this still, like, we're talking about rest, right? So today, after 3 podcast interviews in a row, I was hungry and it was dinner time. And so I go upstairs, but I was aware that even though I wasn't stressed out, they were great conversations. I was feeling like productive. I was still going. You know how you feel like you're in the mode, you're just going, you're in the flow. And I had to go upstairs, and instead of going to the kitchen and making food, which I really wanted to do, because it's all pre-made, it's just a matter of putting it on my plate, I laid down on the floor, nothing fancy here, and I just was still and hence I did not have Haven at the house yet. So yes, it was a little bit easier, but for good 5 minutes, I just laid on the floor, took some deep breaths, like got back into my body, and then I had dinner. Okay. So super simple, but I was just aware that, okay, I need to like calm down my brain for a second and shift down my body, downshift, so I can absorb the food that I eat, and that I don't have, 5 extra scoops of hummus, not just because I'm not hungry. I'm just like, I don't even know my body can't even tell me if I'm hungry or not, right? So that's a super practical thing. Another thing, if throughout the day, if you're not getting in that sleep, or you just feel like you're just on edge than normal, maybe you do the same thing, even if kids are around, or puppy that needs to be walked is just bugging you, or your spouse is around and you feel like there's just distraction, you can still do that. Guess what, ladies? You don't need permission to lay down. This is revolutionary. You do not need permission to lay down on the couch. I don't know why I feel like I need permission, or like all is well in the world for me to take a nap or just stop for 5 minutes, but you don't need permission. So maybe this looks like for you right now, just practicing that. Everything else, everyone else is moving, doing their things, and there's you just laying on the couch for like a good 5 minutes and just breathing and getting back in your body. So you are signaling your system and your physiology that, hey, I love you, I acknowledge you, and I want to be in tune with what's going on here so that I just don't override it the remainder of the day, okay? So that's one little nugget of rest. Another component of rest we can talk about is intermittent fasting, resting our digestive system, being more mindful of that. So intermittent fasting, there's trainings in your membership site. In short, you could practice a 12-hour daily fast. You could practice a 16-hour daily fast. So maybe, like Kristen, if you're finding yourself, and I'm just sharing this as a practical example, if you're, and like myself, that you're just finding yourself snacking, it's more of a mental thing than anything, just like a habit, then maybe you just for the next week, or we just for the next week, set up an intermittent fast where we're fasting 12 or 16 hours a day, that, so we're eating that 8-hour window. And then it's just, our brain can stop thinking about it. If it's not within our 8-hour window, we're like, well, it's not in my 8-hour window. I'm going to have some broth or some tea or some water, right? So to kind of help with that mental piece too, because sometimes it just gets exhausting thinking about like, okay, when was my first meal? How much food have I actually eaten today? Gosh, I don't even know, but I'm just kind of hungry. So I'm just going to kind of keep going for it, because whatever, even if you're eating healthy food, which, is the case for me even a lot. So maybe it's as simple as, okay, let's set up an intermittent fast for the next week, not forever, but just these little mini micro goals, which right now I think is so important for us. Now, I would say if anyone feels overly stressed out right now, like anxious, fearful, just stressed, then I would probably advise you, cleanse days with food might not be your best option, because in that case, it's like we almost have to talk more about the protein pacing side of things so that we're getting our bodies the right nutrients to deal with that added stress. So again, it's going to be kind of individual. And if people have questions, we can talk about that. Like, what should I do? What would be right? We can talk through that. But again, just examples, even on the resting side of nutrition. An idea I had even next week or later this week is maybe we do a group cleanse where we pick a day and we just say, hey, this is the or I'll pick a day and I'll say, this is the day that I'm going to cleanse. Anyone is welcome to join just for that accountability piece, or just reach out to someone in the group and do that on your own if you're feeling like, that's something that would probably be good for me to do right now. So that's like a few ideas when it comes to rest and nutrition. Any questions on that? Thoughts on that one? Yeah, Jennifer?
Or can you talk a little bit more about protein pacing?
Yeah.
I'm drawing a little bit of a blank on that.
Okay, perfect. That's the next one. So we'll talk about diet now. So protein pacing is, Dr. Beth Westie talked about this a little bit in her talk. Protein pacing is really, really beneficial for women to ensure that we're getting in enough protein throughout the day. And all protein pacing means is every 2 to 3 hours, you're getting in a serving of protein with, a healthy fat and a healthy carb, but really prioritizing that protein piece. So it looks like, 5 times a day, you're getting that 20 to, depending on who you are, 40 grams of protein in 5 times a day. So in the morning, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, or if you want to do a snack after dinner. And so that looks like at least 20 grams. So the key there in protein pacing is that it's every about 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, you're getting in a full serving of protein. So that's the timing of it. I wish I had my whiteboard here to draw that out. And then you have to aim for at least 20 grams of protein per serving. And why that 20 grams of protein per serving is important, because that's the threshold of your muscles actually being able to upload that, where it's contributing to building that lean muscle, so that it's enough density so that your cells can actually upload that in a way that's increasing metabolism, building lean muscle, repair, hormone balance, on and on and on. So does that make sense? So that's that. That's protein pacing, which is absolutely another thing that I was going to mention is exactly that. So in this diet piece, I wanted to bring up again, and I've done this too. In the last week, there's been a few days where I have just tracked my food. And MyFitnessPal is a free resource. I also like My Macros Plus. It was like $5 for the app for life. But again, because we're home a lot more, it's easy to lose track, because every time I go upstairs, I pass my pantry. I'm like, ooh, look at, there's some roasted hazelnuts. That looks good. Maybe with a little dried fig. That looks like fun. And I just do that, right? And that's easy just to add up through the day, because so tracking our food would be another great thing if you feel like you just need that accountability. And what I love about tracking food is I don't think that we have to track our food all of our life by any means, but it's such a great accountability tool, even for yourself. And you guys are free at any time through this program to track your food, either for a day or a week, and send it to me and say, hey, how does this look? And I can see, hey, here's gaps. Maybe you're not getting enough. Maybe you can move things around to really optimize that for you. So that's always an option you have. So maybe, again, it's as simple as okay, I feel a little stressed out, so I'm not going to worry about cleanse days or intermittent fasting. But maybe I just need to get back on track and really gauge, what am I actually getting in? Because you might find, wow, I'm not actually eating enough, right? I'm not eating enough of the right thing, which can make a big difference on your mood, on how your body feels, your strength, how you're sleeping. I can't stress enough how helpful it is to track and just get a baseline of where are we right now? So again, with the diet, the protein pacing, are you getting enough protein? Going back to the anti-inflammatory diet. So maybe it's pulling up the anti-inflammatory lists that we have and saying, okay, putting that in our pantry, and maybe it's going through another mini pantry detox, which sounds kind of like a bad time to throw away food, but you get the point on that. So yeah, anti-inflammatory, again, really again, the mindset is not restriction. The mindset is like helping nourish our bodies and fuel them in a way that is reducing inflammation, because stress also is going to want to pop that inflammation up. Another component when it comes to diet I put is fat in the morning. So if you're finding yourself extra snacky in the afternoon, or maybe after dinner, like you're good in the morning, but then afternoon comes, you're like, dang it, I just want to eat everything. Maybe you're not getting enough fat in the morning. So that can help to buffer some of those afternoon cravings if you get a good dose of fat in the morning. And, you know, one of my favorite ways to do that is a bulletproof coffee. Another way is, you know, cooking eggs in coconut oil. This is one of my favorites. Is nut butter mixed with coconut oil. And then I have it with my coffee. So that's actually what I've been doing a lot. I'll work out, I'll have my protein shake, and then I'll get ready and start work, like get ready for the day. And then I have my coffee, and then I have like a tablespoon of coconut oil and a tablespoon of nut butter, and I mix that together. Lots of great healthy fat. And then there's a little bit of protein with the nut butter and a little bit of carb with nut butter. So it's also pretty complete. So your body can process that really well, and it just keeps you full, and it helps. So that's another, however you like to get your fat in the morning. Extra avocado with your eggs, cook your coconut oil or eggs and ghee, you know, however you like to get your fat in, that can also help in the afternoon. Cool. Anyone have any tips of like, do you like bulletproof coffee? Anyone out there? Or what's your favorite fat foods? Healthy
What do
fat.
you do if you don't drink coffee? Because I don't drink coffee.
What I just told you, the coconut oil and nut butter.
Okay.
With some tea, or just eat it. I mean, it's good. Jenna, do you have any things?
I really like avocado in the morning. Yeah. Eggs and avocado is like a big norm for me for sure.
So great.
Otherwise, like, yeah, nut butter is heavenly.
I know, it's so heavenly. Oh, man.
I would say those are my two big ones too. So
yeah. And for me too, because I love nut butter so much, I have to put in the tablespoon. Like I have to, you know, kind of some sort of accountability for myself, because otherwise, Lord knows. Okay, diet. We're still on diet. Water. Okay, we all know water. Kristen knows water because she's got the cool water bottle that we all witnessed, okay? But what are you putting in your water these days? That's what I want to know. So my goal right now is 3 of these bad boys a day, which is pretty easy if I make it taste good. So if you all have tips, you can tell me right now what I've been doing. Again, remember where you are in your month, how that matters significantly of how you're hydrating. So if you're in the first 2 weeks of your menstrual cycle, you know, you're going to be fine with more plain water, you know, cold water. Again, you can put cucumbers in there because it's cooling. We want to think of cold, right? So first 2 weeks, cold water, if you can do that, you know, put things in there like cucumber. Electrolytes are always good. So if you want to get a lower carb electrolyte, you can throw that in there. Lemon juice. Okay. Apple cider vinegar. So I put apple cider vinegar in here every day mixed with an orange flavored electrolyte that tastes pretty good. And so I do the orange electrolytes and apple cider vinegar at least. So just, you know, a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 scoop of electrolyte powder in one of these big things with ice cubes in the first 2 weeks of my cycle. And it tastes like punch, and it's actually delicious. And I can suck this thing down in 30 minutes, which is also a problem because I'm going to the bathroom so much right now. But it helps tremendously with craving. So just, again, a reminder, okay, where am I in my cycle? Do I need to really prioritize more electrolytes, because if you're in the last part of your cycle, remember, like Beth taught us this, if we are drinking just water and the last part of our cycle, you're actually going to retain the water. It's going to do the opposite of what we want it to do. So make sure that you're hydrating correctly. And, if you don't have a fancy water bottle, maybe now is your time. Now is your time to get a fancy water bottle and start sucking down the liquids. Okay. Another idea for water, again, I'm just kind of spitballing here, is tea. So if I make tea at night or in the morning sometimes, and I have, like the half cup of drunken tea, I pour that in my water with ice. Or if it's the last part of the cycle, I don't put ice. You get the point. So that leftover tea water, which sounds so disgusting, but it's not. Or you can put tea bags in your water bottle to make it taste better. Okay. So we did that. Okay. Any questions there? Like, yeah, Jenna.
Yes. Okay. First question. Okay. Could you go through the water in the last part of your cycle? I don't know if I've ever like fully grasped. So like,
okay, yeah. Great. If someone knows how to write on here, I will figure that out for our next meeting, because I know there's a way to like make notes so you can see what I'm writing, if that makes sense. And so I'll say it and then I'll kind of type it out here. So, so day 1 through 14 is cold drinks. This is where maybe you'd get iced coffee. And you use ice cubes, and you do mint tea. Like brew mint tea and then put that in a cooler water bottle. Cucumbers, basil, is that cooling? I think so. That's really good in water. And because why we're doing this is because day 1 through 14 we have higher estrogen, where our body is naturally running cooler. Mm-hmm. So our body's already cooler, and so we actually want to lean into that to help our body be even more cooler, right? And then the opposite is true on day 15 to, we'll just say 28. Then we want to focus on hot, because again, then our body core temperature is higher. And so we want to lean with our body into that. So it's like room temperature water. It's putting like ginger slices. I have some ginger up in the fridge that is just straight up ginger root. Slice it, throw it in the water bottle all day. And that tastes really good. You can do the same thing with brewing tea and putting it in your water bottle. Cinnamon. If you do have coffee and you do bulletproof by chance, you can sprinkle some cinnamon on there. Does that help?
Yeah. What, for like retaining water, I think that's the part that I understand.
Okay. Yeah. The last part of your cycle, then the 15 to 28, you need to up the electrolytes, because your body is wanting to retain water during that time. That's why we tend to get more bloated in the last cycle, the last part of our cycle. And so then the common sense is like, oh, drink more water to like flush things out. But your cells actually are just going to hold on to that plain water at that time. So if we have electrolytes, then that means our cells are actually utilizing that hydration, and it also can release the extra inflammation essentially in that time.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, which is also why the last part of our cycle, even if you mix apple cider vinegar, you can have that anytime, but apple cider vinegar with the electrolytes is also a anti-inflammatory type drink, cleansing drink, detoxing drink. Kristen, do you have any ideas too on that note?
I actually have a favorite tea, and I can look up the brand. I get it at Target, actually. I think it's like Harvey and Sons, and it comes in a metal cute little metal box that you can
Yeah.
use, but it's got cinnamon in there, and I want to say ginger, but it tastes like a hot tamale.
Oh,
So if you're a fan of hot tamale candies, I like having those, especially in the evening, end of my cycle. I tend to like those. So if you get bored of water, those are nice, because those tea bags, actually you can brew 2 different cups of tea on one bag.
oh, cool. Those are the cutest tins. It's worth it to get the tins.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I totally do. I totally do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
it's
they'll
called
pay
like
the
a
extra
sunset
$4
one.
for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and my mouth is watering. You said that. That sounds so good. Cool. Great. Any other ideas, tips on that?
So, I don't know about others, but people that don't drink coffee, and I see that Leah stepped away, but I have a really tough time drinking green tea when it's brewed. And so I learned a trick that you can do cold brew in the refrigerator for like up to 3 days with green tea. And then it doesn't upset my stomach as much. But green tea is so good for you. And so I get a green and white tea mix, and I put it in a big container, and I put about 4 to 5 tea bags in that, and then just brew it cold in the refrigerator and drink that. And that doesn't upset my stomach. I don't know what the difference is as to why that is, but
That's a good idea. So just regular hot tea bags, you can just throw in the fridge over time.
yeah, I have a big pitcher that is just regular water. I don't make it hot first. I just tap water, put the 4 to 5 tea bags into the water, and then put it in the fridge and let it brew over 3 days. And then I just drink that. I take the tea bags out after 3 days, because otherwise they start getting a little mucky, but
Yeah.
take them out after 3 days and then just drink that.
Cool. I love that. Sounds good. Is that helpful, Jenna?
Yes, it was. Yeah. And I recently got an app on my phone that reminds you to drink water. And that was really helpful for me, because I just would go throughout the day and be like, oh, I literally haven't drank water since I woke up. So
Oh.
that's a big, big win.
Yeah. It's good. Okay. So that's some of the diet tips, nutrition tips to kind of rein in and pick out, okay, what would make sense for me right now in this season. Next, I wanted to move to mindset. And again, this is all attached to diet and nutrition, but mindset. So in this particular season right now, in this moment in time, I want you to think about, even today, I want you to notice, what was my eating habits like today? And when I was eating, if you can remember those details, what was I feeling? What was I experiencing? Or what sort of emotions was I experiencing before I was eating? That before I had that snack or had that meal. Were you bored? Were you anxious? Were you kind of wound up? Were you fearful? So I just want you to start to notice, like, okay, what's our mindset around our eating right now? Do we feel like we're falling into any one or two emotions kind of over and over that's maybe causing a tailspin into just habits that aren't serving us? Because then we can work to address that, right? Okay, I'm feeling anxious. Okay. And the same thing we've been doing this whole time. Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I anxious about that? So like just doing that work, that self-awareness work. And again, engaging the Lord in that too. Like, okay, is there any lies I'm believing about my future, about myself, about the Lord, and just doing some of that work so that we can kind of get to the root of it. And again, this doesn't have to be a long meditation session. Like, this can happen in a matter of probably 30 to 60 seconds in your own mind, in your own heart. So I want to bring that to the light of because you might feel like if you're in this, where things are just out of order right now, a little chaotic, and then you're like, gosh, and on top of it, my eating is like spiraling out of control. Maybe it's not. I'm just saying that. It could be as simple as like there's one underlying emotion, and if we just address that emotion and apply some truth to it, and then some intentionality around, okay, then what does it look like to start my day proactively each morning addressing this anxiety before I'm slapped with it in the middle of the day and my defenses are down and I just go have another fig and hazelnut handfuls. It's so real. So real. Okay. So again, even in this moment, like we're on this call, not just to like talk and whatever, like I want you to actually think about it, and we might as well really leverage this time. Just take a mental scan, literally, of the day. Take a deep breath and just take a mental scan of your day. Try to remember, okay, when did I have breakfast? What did I have for breakfast today? Okay. When did I have lunch? What did I have for lunch today? What did I have for snacks throughout the day? And looking back, was I uptight? Was it because I was truly hungry? Why did I reach for certain things? Why did I have certain things? And just notice like what emotions were wrapped up in those decisions today. And just take note of them and acknowledge them and give yourself so much grace that this is totally new territory for you and everyone else. It is totally new territory. And it's like you and I are, 3 weeks ago, we were riding a bike without training wheels. Like, look, Mom, no hands. And all of a sudden, we are back to training wheels because we are figuring out how to do a new rhythm. And eating is part of the rhythm of life. And so I don't know, I just feel like I need to share that with you. Like, eating is a rhythm of life, and the rhythm of life has been thrown out of whack. And so there's grace in discovering what this new rhythm is going to look like for you. And there's hope. You are not going to feel out of control forever. You are not going to be using training wheels in this new eating rhythm forever. It's just a momentary season, and we can go through this quicker as we do the work to identify what are some of the underlying emotions that want to sabotage, this us getting the breakthrough to find, our feet again. Okay. So mindset, emotions, just that awareness. And so maybe it's every time you go to the kitchen, and I'm speaking to myself right now because we're home a lot more. It's like, oh no, I'm going to lay down on the living room floor for a minute until I really know what my body needs. Okay. So any questions there? Any practicals, any tips, something that's working well for you in that area of mindset, nutrition right now? Okay. So the last area that we can touch on a little bit is fitness. Fitness and nutrition, because our movement affects our appetites and on and on. And that's probably another thing, right? That might be a little thrown out of whack right now as well. Maybe not. So fitness, again, I just want to remind us and reiterate, let's work on matching our movement with our cycle, or at least being aware of it. So again, the refresher is the first 2 weeks of our cycles. Typically we have more energy. And so that's the great time to like really nail the HIIT workout if that's what you love, or focus more on strength. Maybe that's a couple push-ups. Maybe that's I don't think any of you on this call at least are like super into weights. Maybe you are, but if you were, that would be the time to really get into weights. And it's as simple as like longer walks. Like your body has the capacity those first 2 weeks to like have more endurance, right? So again, we're tailoring this to each one of you based on where you are, but just again, the grace, the awareness, where are you right now in your cycle? And like, let's work on matching our fitness to that, because sometimes when we get out of that habit of being in tune and moving our bodies in alignment, then all of a sudden we're overdoing it because of where we are in our cycle. And then we're like, gosh, I am so hungry. Because I kind of overdid an exercise, but then my willpower is down because I'm a little bit more tired because it's that part of my cycle. And it's like this cascading effect, all because like we did first acknowledge like, oh, this is what actually our body needs right now. So again, the first 2 weeks, it's just more endurance. You're going to have more energy. You're going to feel awesome in that run. And then the second, and Leah and all of you guys have had amazing, I feel like, understanding and break through this area. But the last 2 weeks, you start to notice, oh, I'm feeling slower. I'm feeling sluggish. You don't recover as quickly. That's the time for either quick, intense workouts or just longer, you'd say fat burning workouts, like just longer walks, bike rides, more the yoga flow type, prioritizing rest, those two last 2 weeks. So again, just the awareness of like, where am I right now, kind of in my cycle, what's happening in my body, and how can I match my movement to that. Nutrition wise, really being intentional if you're really going at it on a particular day to get that post-workout nutrition in. Beth did that. Her call is up in our membership site on pre and post-workout nutrition. So prioritizing that if you are being really intentional in your exercise. So again, just the reminder of, okay, when we work in alignment with our bodies, we're going to feel a lot better about how we feel, and we're also going to feel more in control, right? Because we're giving our body what it wants. Therefore, we don't feel overwhelmed by cravings, or we don't feel guilty about like, I just actually don't want to move right now. Well, maybe you shouldn't. Or, maybe the opposite is true. So any like fitness questions, again, something that's working well for you, something that you want to share?
I just have to say, first grade workouts are actually rough. My daughter will not do her Phy-Ed class unless I do it with her, and they do an entire like Tabata to the song Young Blood. And so I don't know if you guys are familiar with that pop song, but they do it. And I had to do burpees with her and mountain climbers and squats and jumping jacks, and I was sweating.
Go girl.
At the end of the song.
That's amazing.
So I was like, well, if I don't get my workout in, hey, there we go.
Yeah. You should like film that for us. We can all do that with your daughter. Your daughter can hold us accountable.
Well, I can always write down what he's doing and show you.
I love that.
But, yep, it works.
Cool. Yeah, side note to that too, Haven's new favorite game is like, let's play tag. And she is fast. I'm like, oh no, she's 4. And like, this is, I gotta step it up. Yep, I need to step it up because she is kicking my tail. It's amazing. I loved what you guys share. I don't know if you want to share this, but I just love it. Yeah, Leah, those nuts, I'm telling you. Again, so okay, nuts. They are the banes of our existence. Have a tablespoon scooper in the nut jar, right? So that's a really great way to like have some just accountability and just awareness of what we're eating, right? So maybe it's a 1/4 cup or a tablespoon, and you say that, okay, 2 times a day, that's my nutty time. That's my time where I go nuts. literally, and you have, one serving, a quarter cup in the morning and a quarter cup in the afternoon. Awesome. Problem solved. That really helps. And then Kristen was just saying snacking from frustration, so real. End of cycle, again, so real. Isn't it helpful to identify that? And at least okay, the cycle is coming. Like my body, and that's another amazing thing about how we were designed is we feel sluggish and sometimes cravings just get the best of us, but then we can put our hope in the fact that, okay, well, my estrogen is going to kick up, the energy in my body is going to kick up, the metabolism is going to kick up. So when that happens, I'm going to lead into that. I'm going to enjoy my workouts. I'm not going to have this guilt cycle, because I know it's so real. And what crackers, chips, and cake. Oh, ooh, yeah. Yep. Those are, maybe you can keep those out in the girls' shed.
That's a good idea.
Your guys' little fall off snacks are still healthy. I had wavy potato chips, a half a bag. So bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Yep, you, Jennifer.
I did have monkey bread that I made with the boys 3 days ago, so you're not the only one.
Game over.
Yeah.
That's a great quarantine treat. That's so funny. Yeah, seriously, I overdo it on things like sweet potatoes and peanut butter. That's what but if I had wavy chips at my house, I can't say that they would last too long either. So.
Okay, and I didn't. And then I ordered from Instacart my I needed a few things, and so I threw the wavy chips in there.
Threw that.
They got delivered to me tonight. Yeah.
That would be, Jennifer, that would be hard because I feel when I order stuff like that, or I make I don't know, a special treat, I have Cam to know that okay, I'm gonna eat this and I'm gonna have a bite of it, and I can just dish it off to him because he'll eat it. And so I feel that would be hard because that if you buy something, you're responsible for that, you and Tia.
Well, right. Well, and even before, when Chuck was still alive, he was total sweet tooth. I'm a salty person, savory, salty. He was total sweet. So even that was it never helped.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
But I have, and don't judge me, but I have bought stuff that I wanted and had my serving, even though it was probably 4 servings instead of 1, and then literally thrown the rest away. So it's just not there.
Yeah.
I get that it's wasting money. I get that it's maybe not a responsible thing to do when you're thinking about just being whatever. But it's and one time, okay, I won't go far, but one time I actually bought a snack at the store, took one, I paid for it, took one out and gave it to the cashier and said, put this in your break room. I only wanted one.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's an issue.
I'm probably going to do that though someday. I would be that person too. Cause I know myself, and that's another thing, you have to know yourself. I know myself. If I make even healthy paleo cookies, I will eat them all. I will, unless I have a plan for them.
Yeah. And so, usually it's I'll make something like that if I'm going to make something, which is rare. But if I make something, I take my bits and then the rest I take down to the neighbors and just say, oh, look, I baked today.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's so, yep. It's good. So anyone else, just things you want to dish, questions, practicals? Any way I can serve you, we can serve each other tonight.
So here's another idea that I had. I don't think this is probably going to work, but I'm not a workouter. Remember how we had the whole conversation, just be okay if you're a workouter or not workouter, and I'm just not a workouter. But this is another thought I had, and Brooke knows this because I've downloaded every little exercise thing. Oh, I'm going to do this. This is going to be my plan, and it never happens. But so can I just work out the 2 weeks in the beginning of my cycle and then just not work out for 2 weeks? Can I have like 2-week goals and then just stop? Yeah, okay, not.
No,
I get it.
no, actually, yes, you can. And by workout, do you mean like actually following a routine? Yeah, okay. Okay, yes, kind of. Yes, I would actually say that's a brilliant plan. As long as, and I know you're not sitting on the couch for 2 weeks straight, because that wouldn't be helpful, right? But honestly, and I sort of do this with my training. The first 2 weeks, which for me starts today. So I already know it's planned out in my calendar. The next 2 weeks, I'm doing more weight training. I'm doing heavier weight training. And I'm just going for that. And then what happens in the last 2 weeks of the month, guess what? I really back down on my weight training. And if I wasn't, if I didn't enjoy it as much as I do, like I just kind of enjoy it, I probably wouldn't as much, right? So it's actually not a bad idea at all. It sounds kind of funny because it's so counter what we are taught, but it's actually a great plan. And doing so, like really leaning into that, if you were just to do 2 weeks of intentional training, and then the last 2 weeks, again, you're moving, you're going on walks, you're not sitting on the couch for 2 weeks. But I think you'd actually start to see things shift for you and feeling stronger because you're partnering with your body's natural rhythm. And so I say, go for it. Yeah.
A question that I was having about fitness is like what, because I know this has happened to me a lot where like I'll get onto like a schedule and I'll like do it for like a little like over a month, but I'll have like rest days. Like I'm normally pretty good about like making sure I rest, but then I get to a point where like all of a sudden my body is just like very, and I don't know, it could have been like I'm on my like last 2 weeks of my cycle, but like just consistently it feeling a lot harder. Like it just like I'm just a lot more tired and I can't like complete it the same. And so I'm wondering like, do I need to like, is what you're talking about with like you can go harder and then go like lighter, is that kind of gonna be like is that gonna help in the like fatigue part? I don't know, yeah, because I just hit like a weird fatigue at like a month and a half in or something like that.
Like are you talking about you notice fatigue kind of around the same part of your cycle, or it's just in general, like after a month and a half of whatever, then I start to feel that way?
I would say I guess I don't know because I have only been tracking my cycle for like 2 months now.
Yeah.
So I don't really know for sure, but I know that for the most part, if I'm like going like hard for like a month and a half, like consistently, that I like hit just like this weird, like where like for like 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks, I'm like just like really tired.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like my body saying like you need to chill or you need to take more rest days, or I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, if you were going hard for 4 weeks and you're doing this kind of consistently, as a lifestyle, you find a plan, you're like, awesome, I'm doing this for 4 to 6 weeks. And then you find another plan, you're like, awesome, I'm doing this for another 4 to 6 weeks. Well, then you're probably not allowing your body the recovery time it needs. Oh, where'd you go? Disappeared. Well, yeah. Well, I'll just say it. You can rewatch it. What do I do? Yeah, she's not allowing her body the recovery time. She's pushing through, and so that wouldn't work. So Jenna, you're gone. So sorry.
I feel that way when I get into programs too, though, like 4 to 6 weeks in. To me, it's almost like boredom. So I'm like not allowing I guess for me at that point, and everyone's different, but it becomes more mind over matter of pushing through at that point for me personally.
Yeah.
Of I feel tired today, and now I'm letting that win because now I'm bored with this, and maybe it's time to just change things up. Or
Oh, she just asked to.
there we go.
That was fun. It was like, well, sorry, she didn't like my answer, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Kristen was just saying how she experiences the same thing and probably some of it boredom. And so a great like timeline to think about if you are following a plan is, you want to switch up your plan, every 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. So you want to switch up your plan, and then within that plan, you want to think about like, okay, even weekly or bi-weekly, how can I, even if it's the same workout, am I progressing, right? So that's like a way to think about every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for sure. That's why the workout calendars change every month for us, because you should be challenging your body in different ways. So my guess is, Jenna, is if, again, like you find something for 4 weeks and then you do another thing for 4 weeks, like there was never kind of that pause for your body. You're just kind of pushing through to the next one and the next one, even if it's not super intense, like you're not going above and beyond, but you probably don't even realize like, oh, I started this program, but I'm in the 3rd week of my cycle, so I should probably back off a little bit. Like there just wasn't that consistent rhythm. You know what I'm saying? And so your body, because you didn't give it the space in 1 week, then it has to catch up for that at some point. So it could just be like your body catching up, after weeks or months of needing that recovery time. So a really easy rule of thumb is just being really in tune, which is, again, it's hard because you have the plan and you're like, but this is my plan. It says it on the piece of paper. It's strength day, So it's like so weird, but you can still do that strength workout even in the last half of your cycle, but you're just dropping your weights, So it becomes more of like a metabolic workout where your heart rate is just steady and increasing the whole time instead of just a heavy strength.
Okay.
Muscle fatiguing, fiber ripping workout. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Beat the munchies. So hopefully that was helpful. I know it was a little random, but it just, again, resting, the intermittent fasting, what does it look like for you right now? The diet, the protein pacing, anti-inflammatory, apple cider vinegar, electrolytes, and water, fat in the morning. Again, if you have questions or like, hey, this worked out, or Kristen, I did an awesome workout with my kid, like post it in the Facebook group, especially now. These Zoom calls are like even more life-giving. So like, I love that chat in the Facebook group, fitness, match it with your cycle. And we'll continue to just, check in with each other on these practicals that make a difference in our life and our mindset, so we can keep making progress in every area, prosper in every area. Beloved sister, I pray that you prosper and be in good health as it is with your soul. So that's my prayer for you and your households tonight. All right. So proud of you all, and we'll see you next Monday night. Happy early Easter.
You too.
Fashion Week. Yes. All right, ladies. Love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.